Hello, Jay. It is back. It is time for beta gear once again. It's been a pretty short one this time. We had Halloween stuff that was delivered kind of late, but then we got the Black Friday stuff kind of quickly. So it hasn't been too long since the last video. But we're going to do some full disclosure. Are you ready, Jay? We recorded this once before. I would say all three of these things are not without issue. Would you agree with that?
Problems were created where problems did not exist before. There are some major issues, and some things have been brought into question as to future content and how it will be handled.
Yeah.
We both got a little bit heated about that because we care. It really, truly is from a place of respect and reverence and love for Kingdom Death as a game and a setting and a product.
With that said, let's talk about the Jack-O-Lantern. So the Jack-O-Lantern was a gear card that was already existing. It came originally out in 2018 and has been a reoccurring, not every year. I think there was one year where it wasn't there, but it comes from the Halloween Twilight Night or the Halloween Allison. She had originally a Jack-O-Lantern, and it was the only thing that was included. And the shop looks like it just used the old shop from 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, Halloween. But this time it was actually different. The gear itself has changed. So the gear is still the Jack-O-Lantern gear. It was just now a pattern card, but it doesn't include a pattern recipe.
Well, it is a pattern gear.
Yeah, it's a pattern gear.
Pattern card.
Without the pattern recipe card. So that will be coming in a legendary card pack, the next one, as they said, along with, it seems, this Jack-O-Lantern gear itself will also be included probably because the shop listing still had the old one listed, so a lot of people probably passed on it. So these two will be in the legendary card pack. So all is well, crisis averted. So as to what this does, the new one is when a survivor dies in a showdown, you reap their light and gain a death token. Then you spend your action to consume one to gain +1 understanding.
It's fine. I'd say it's better than the original Jack-O-Lantern, which was simply, if you are insane, when a survivor dies, gain +10 survival.
Yeah,
that was pretty blunt. This is at least a little more interesting, a little more flavorful.
Yep.
It of course depends. It depends on how difficult it is to craft. If it's an insight/seed pattern card,
it does look like it is, because it has the yellow pattern up in the top right.
Yes, as well as the orange back.
Yes.
That is true.
So it looks to be.
It's fine. It's rather similar, you pointed out, to the Bone Whisperer Secret Fighting art. It's not the same, but it's similar. I like it.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate that we have no way to gain this gear yet. But hopefully when that second legendary card pack is released in all of its glory and splendor and whatnot, this is a nice alternative to the Survivor Lantern.
I mentioned to Taste that want to post just the recipe. Maybe that would be something that Taste might do. That'd be great. Next, we have the actual official beta gear up for this month, or for November. It is the Screamy Oni mask. And I forget the name. What was it? It's Lucy, which is the best thing.
The Screaming Sunlope Lucy or something. Lucy or something like that.
Yeah. So, this is regular beta, so the gear recipe's on the back of the card, which is a spiral horn, a skull, and a perfect bone. This beta recipe does not have an alternate craft recipe, so this is just Lope locked, which is fine. Lope's core doesn't need an alternate recipe. Alternate recipes are when things start to get a little bit weird. Because clearly they're not intended to use that way.
It's simply if you don't own this expansion but buy this piece of content, we're not gimping you.
Yep. Let's talk about the Screeny Oni mask. This one is neat. The effect by itself It is a armor, bone, and a mask. It has the ability of Scold, which is non-death knockdown survivors suffer monster level brain damage and stand. Limit once per round.
An activation, yeah.
Oh yeah, spend an activation.
That's also blue left, which obviously is good for luck charm shenanigans. It's 2-head armor.
Mm-hmm.
It's decent. It's probably still not as good as the regular Screaming Horns. I'm gonna say that much. Even though those obviously got their loop closed in 1.6.
The nice thing about this one is you can encourage. It gives you access to encourage when you have like broken or what is it? Broken jaw? No, shattered jaw. I forget what it is.
Yeah, shattered jaw. Isn't there like some disorder that makes it so you can't encourage? Maybe I'm crazy.
There might be. I can't remember now.
Selfish.
Endless babble.
Like
is it endless babble?
Maybe endless babble. Yeah, maybe.
I can't remember. Either way, this is nice because it gives you the ability to encourage when you otherwise wouldn't, and even it doesn't have a cost. This is like an encourage you always have access to, since it's by brain damage. It doesn't cost insanity. It just does damage to do it. So that's also nice.
Yeah, especially if you take like accept darkness, it's less of a risk.
Yeah. Nice way to clean up
like
icky disorders. Put this on someone with some bad disorders. Go clean them up.
Yeah. Or like if Gorm knocks down half your party with his trap, as he's wont to do.
Yeah, this is neat. By itself, like you said, it's probably not as strong as the Screaming Horns, but it's fine. It's not bad.
And it probably balances out the full set, which is definitely stronger than the regular Screaming set.
Yes. So we have Screaming Oni armor, the hybrid armor set. This is a hybrid armor set. We have recently learned, because originally I was wondering how this would work. It gets kind of iffy when you get to outfits, but we have now learned that hybrid armor sets, you cannot complete them with outfits. You need to have all the pieces listed here. So you would have to have the mask, which is good. Because otherwise you could use an outfit and then complete this and the Screaming Lope regular set.
Yeah, that would be only really a problem if we ever get a dagger spear, which I don't see.
So this is 3 armor to all locations. It just sets you at 3 armor when you wear this. And then you have the ability for Flay, which is the set abilities Flay. It doesn't add any bonuses. So there's no like evasion. There's just nothing other than Flay, which is weird, but that's okay. After you slam, you spend your activation to move 1 space and attack with a melee weapon. If you are attacking with a dagger, your 2 highest attack rolls become automatic perfect hits. This is very powerful.
It's really good in core. It becomes an issue when you throw expansions in. Straight up.
It just is an issue all around. This is a very powerful ability, and it really limits design space around daggers because of this ability. So, and yes, when you add in Gorm, you get the acid palm dagger, right? No, what is it?
It's the acid tooth dagger.
Acid tooth dagger. Acid palm's the ability, yeah, that's right. Acid tooth dagger, where your automatic hits deal automatic wounds. So this is really powerful, and it makes it so daggers can't really have perfect hit triggers as much because of this. And then when you do use this with the acid tooth, oh my gosh, it is basically don't roll a 1 when you're rolling to hit, and then you're just going to do 2 automatic wounds. This is just really problematic. It's great though. It's fun. We're not going to focus on the problematic stuff.
But like really, truly like anything in this game, it only becomes problematic when you seek to abuse it, which I know is a dumb excuse, but
Yeah, but I mean,
it
like
doesn't
this.
have it doesn't have to be stupid.
Well, I mean, this even daggers are things where you want to pair them, and this even hurts. This even like makes it so you don't want to pair them. Like you basically just want to be rolling 2 dice, maybe 3, because when you pair them, then your speed gets to like 4 or 5. This changes your 2 highest hits, or your 2 highest rolls. Your 2 highest rolls might have already been hits anyway, and now this isn't doing anything. Like you could even roll a perfect hit, and then this just makes it another. It just doesn't do anything. So it's weird that it messes around with paired too.
I mean, that's true.
So
it does work quite well with the 10th anniversary daggers because it confirms more like hits.
Yes.
So you can get more luck. So even though those aren't a perfect hit thing, that's a fun interaction.
Yep. This is just it. It's awkward.
It's got some teething pains. It's got some 1 a.m. design in there. It obviously didn't take into account expansions and white box and whatnot.
Yeah. And it's fine.
It's not the most egregious. Rather, it's not the most egregious beta content we've gotten. It's not precedent step.
Yeah.
Or whatnot.
And it's fine. It's fun. It's just it keeps going with the same thing that we've seen. Rather than make better daggers, we'll just make gear that assists daggers. We've seen the strain that gives devastating, which I didn't even mention here. You can just get devastating wounds for free. It's really the more and more you keep making dagger assisting things rather than just making daggers good, the more you limit actual daggers because of all the assistance they have. So but it's still fun.
It's a fine balance between support and weapon viability.
Yes.
Like, I don't think there's a really, really good spear. However, a lot of things make every spear good.
Yes. It's just stuff like that. So, this is still fun. It's Lucy, so therefore it becomes best.
Second best.
Yes, second best. Yes, second best by default. But it's like I said, it's fun. So let's go on to the beta content that has now graduated into the actual white box, which was the first beta content, and that is the Sunlion Erza stuff. So I just want to start with, there's a lot included, right? If you're buying this white box, I think it was actually discounted at Black Friday too. I think it was only $25 or $30.
Yeah, there's a lot of card stock.
There's a lot of stuff in there, so it's really cool. It's a white box that you're getting quite a bit of stuff in. I think it's probably the individual mini white box with the most content that we've seen.
Yes. Unless you count Giga Lion as a white box.
Well, that wasn't an individual mini. That's like...
oh, yeah, the Dead Rock Survivors.
Yeah. So this is the most content from an individual mini. Because whatchamacallit had quite a bit too. Like 10th Annie is still probably like one of the biggest values. Because you get like 6 patterns or 7 patterns and like 12 gear or something. Or no, 7 gear because they're all one.
It's still weird. They're all negative, which means that they're all non-canon.
Yep, we'll see how that happens. We'll see what so this one is People of the Sun locked. And by that, I mean it comes with a resource to craft the mask that's included. The mask that was in the original beta gear is still now in this one. Only now it's crafted with the Bleeding Corpse Lily, which is a perfect flower and an organ. Taste has now confirmed, even though the rulebook in Flower Knight says flowers are perishable. Not all flowers are perishable anymore. This is not perishable.
Is only resources with the perishable keyword.
Yes.
Are perishable.
Yes, and all flowers in the expansion for Flower Knight did have that keyword. So this
Except
is when you gain
Bloom,
it. Gain the White Lion Sun Mask and Beast Kunai pattern cards. So you just get the pattern cards just from this, and then it's also a crafting aspect of it. How you get this is, again, it's a terrain. The terrain is People of the Sun only. It says it right on the card, which is interesting that it doesn't say it on the back or whatever, but it does say it right on the... Well, I guess if it said on the back, you wouldn't be able to randomize it. So I guess it's understandable. You only include this terrain in your deck if playing People of the Sun campaign. So you have spend an activation to harvest. You roll 1d10. If you have a sickle, instead roll 2d10 and add the result. This is just Acanthus. And on an 8+, you get the strange resource of the Bleeding Corpse Lily. It's a little bit worse than Acanthus. Or, I mean, the low roll. You get a minus evasion token rather than just taking 1 damage to the hand. How about them pattern cards?
So here's where we run into the things that we were ranting about in the original draft.
Yes. Did you see Taste's clarification?
I have not.
Taste said that these are not the new standard.
So that takes away a lot of my worries. However, these are still incredibly lazy.
Yes.
There is no point for these to exist.
Well, we're not going to go super negative this time.
I know.
I 100% agree with you. There's no point for this to be called a pattern card whatsoever. This is a recipe card.
Purely, it could have just been on the back of the gear tiles and required the corpse flower.
Yep.
However, this exists. It is simply a pattern card with the key art of the weapon. The recipe right at the bottom, there is no flavor text or tool requirements. It does, however, state you can only build one of them. There's no arc. It's simply for, we're doing the Beast Kunai or the Mask first. Alright, so the Beast Kunai is a melee, dagger, tool, and bone. It is not a weapon, therefore it does not activate dagger proficiency. And you cannot, say, pounce with it, or charge with it, or flay with it. They all specify weapons, I believe.
Yes, they do.
It is 2 speed, 6+ accuracy, and 4 strength, which is like decent. It's got red down. Its special gear ability is at the end of your attack with any melee weapon, which does not include itself. You may place yourself in any unoccupied space adjacent to the monster, which is decent. However, again, it does not activate itself, therefore you need something else. Lion stuff, probably it'll be a paired weapon, which having 3 weapons in your gear grid is not ideal.
Nope. I mean, it doesn't have to be a paired weapon, but even then...
And you don't have to pair it even if it does. However, the main use I have seen for this is that it's a great target just to have for Tool Belt for Manhunter.
Yep, I agree.
You wouldn't be using its ability, obviously, but that's +4 evasion. Stack it with Rawhide and Saliva Shawl. Well, you can't do Saliva Shawl, but you're kind of golden.
Yep. So we're going to touch on some of the stuff there, what you said, and we're not going to go deep.
That was an objective thing. That's just I'm pointing out a use.
Yeah, the thing that is weird about this is either one, you're using this for its ability, and if you are, then you're bringing another weapon with you to do this, because this can't do the ability, or you're bringing this as a tool and then bringing Tool Belt, and then you're just not even using the ability. So it's just baffling that any way you want to go about using this, it requires just more space in your gear grid.
Yeah, I think the most egregious part is that you can't actually use... you can't pounce with it, which is the whole point of the Sunlion armor.
Which is the whole point.
You can't use dagger specialization.
Yeah.
Or mastery, for that matter. It's a very baffling piece of design that...
Taste did clarify this. Well, it's definitely not a weapon, and it's not a mistake. It's not meant to be a weapon. But if you have dagger specialization from a master or something, you do benefit from it, which is just so weird.
No.
Yeah,
That's not how.
or that's what Taste said. They said.
Okay, I mean, straight from the horse's
Yeah,
mouth.
like I said,
Mouth.
it's a that's it. This is just confusing.
Oh, you know what?
These gears are confusing.
It just says when attacking with a dagger, not a dagger weapon. So yeah, that fits, I guess.
It's
baffling.
It's very interesting, right? So I'm just going to give a taste of some of the stuff that we were talking about that caused the other video to be really ranty and stuff, right? Gear shouldn't be cryptic. This required a lot of clarification from Taste on how to even use this. And then not only that, you need to know about the tool belt's existence. You need to know that you can't pounce with it. You need to know that you need another weapon to activate it. You need to know that you would benefit as this with a dagger, even though it's not a weapon. You would then need to know how to use tool belt without having another weapon in your gear grid. And you would need to know... You would need to make there's a lot of decisions that go into this. Like, you look at this and it's just confounding. Like, you don't understand it. And gear should not be designed to be confounding. And this isn't the only one. We're going to still talk about the mask, and that is equally confounding. So,
As a final piece of that, it would have been much better if this was like beast hand wraps and it was just a gear piece. It did not have an attack profile. If it didn't have an attack profile, this wouldn't be a problem.
yeah. And it's not... Again, it's not a problem.
It's not a problem
because it's not a problem because we have Taste. Sentence need to be finished there. Had we not had access to Tastemaker, this would be a problem.
It would be a larger problem. I still think that because this is the intended design, that intended design is not good.
Yes.
However, be that as it may, it is usable. It's the ability itself is decent.
Yeah.
However, it takes too much setup to be worth it.
Yeah. It's fun.
We'll leave it there.
So let's talk about the mask.
And it's got a pretty good affinity. Anyway, the Sunlion mask. If I just pull it up here. This is an armor and a mask and an accessory. Because it has the armor keyword, accessory is moot. I'm not going to have any opinions on that. But
it can't be used as an accessory. Because of...
Yes, you can't say put it with the White Lion headdress.
Yes, because it's an armor.
Or
you
White
can't
Lion
wear
helmet,
armor.
rather.
You just can't wear two armor at the same location.
Yes. It is 2 head armor. It has a red left and a red down. With 2 red puzzle pieces. When you pounce and attack from the blind spot, add +4 strength for that attack. Really good with 0 sense, which is flavorful.
Yep.
It's perfectly serviceable. It's a good headpiece. It's better than the vanilla White Lion helmet by a country mile.
Yep.
It's good. It's a good gear piece. Period.
The affinities were thought out. They're good. If you're going to use Lion stuff, you need the affinities in these spots.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest issues with Lion gear, in my opinion, is the affinities are difficult to activate, especially early on.
Yep. It's good.
And that, it's decent. It's not a bad armor piece at all.
Nope. It's just confounding because, again, you see accessory, you think you can use it as an accessory, but you can't use it as an accessory at all because it's an armor.
It would be just as with the kunai, you shouldn't have an attack profile. That shouldn't have the accessory.
Nope.
Gear rule.
Yep.
Is what it is.
It is what it is.
However, that is the part of a whole. The white Sunlion armor, which is a hybrid armor piece, a hybrid armor card, which sets your armor to 2 across all hit locations. You gain +1 evasion and speed, which is just good. You ignore extreme heat, which is the people of the sun clause that you cannot depart with heavy armor or wearing heavy gear, which means armor accessories. When you pounce, move 4 spaces.
Which is all
3.
of White Lion, because I know a lot of people never use White Lion ever. Just gonna
Yes.
clarify, it's White Lion.
Yes, the White Lion gear is all heavy. So this makes it so you can actually use the White Lion and People of the Sun. With some difficulty because of the terrain. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. It's basically the review of this. It just is what it is.
Yes, but when you pounce, you move 4 spaces instead of 3 and ignore models and terrain as you jump over them. Just makes pounce a little bit better. The evasion speed are the selling points, frankly.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine.
This is actually unchanged. And because, for that exact reason, it's just good enough. Didn't really need to see change from beta.
That's true. That's true.
This was just always good. I mean, I always felt the thing where you ignore models and terrain as you jump over them is a little questionable because you could get stuck on impassable, but it is what it is. So that's everything. I think all the gear here is fun, right? It's fun to use. It's cool stuff. It's just a little confounding and a lot to take in because when we went to do this originally, we didn't have all that stuff from Tastemaker.
We didn't have all the puzzle pieces.
Yes.
There were some conclusions that we drew about the future of pattern cards in particular, because these are kind of a straight downgrade, but it's been clarified these aren't permanent.
Yep.
We might see them in the future, we might not. I'm not sure still.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have clarification on how... we had the clarification on the accessory thing, we had that one, and we had the clarification on the weapon. But we didn't know how hybrid armor sets worked, that you couldn't complete them with outfit, because we had talked about that with these masks. They get a little iffy. But now we know you can't. There's just a lot of clarification, and that was the main thing. So we were upfront about it. We're re-recording it. It's just not good when you get a pack of stuff, and it's very confounding.
Yes, we got a little hot.
Yeah, because there was a lot of stuff you just don't understand it, and that should not be the standard going forward, especially with your biggest expansion.
Yes, my inner optimist, which is a very, very, very small part of me, is saying that this is so baffling because the team is very busy working on COD and the dogs and the logistics of the chest, not making the chest anymore, but the logistics side.
Yes.
As well as obviously the Sim, which just came out.
Yeah.
Released in alpha.
Look, the Black Friday update was absolutely amazing. And
yeah, it was 10 out of 10. That was a 10 out of 10 update. I was hype as all get out. I still am.
Yes. And this came along with that, and I don't think it changed my opinion or it didn't change my amount of hype for it.
Yes. Especially with the clarification that these are not new patterns.
Yes.
Chest is still going to be awesome.
Yes. So
I have no doubt about that. And this is just kind of filling the check mark of the monthly content drop, which at least we have consistently gotten that drop. And the actual beta of Lucy was pretty good.
Yes, I agree. It was neat. A little bit much on daggers, but other than that, it's good. What was fun, as always. So,
as always,
yep.
Those bits.
I'll see you in the next beta video.
See you around.